Welcome to Remote Places New Zealand. Today we're going to take you to a secret part of New Zealand, which in the words of my wife, may be one of New Zealand's most scenic road trips. I describe it as a secret because the locals say few Kiwis visit here. Most visitors are independent overseas travellers. My name is Dudley, and today I'm inviting you to join us as we travel Highway 99 from Invercargill to Lake Te Anau. It is the midsection of the Southern Scenic Route and travels along the south coast and up the edge of the Fiordland National Park. It is not the quickest way to get there from Invercargill to Te Anau, but by far the most scenic. We will drop in on a few sites along this highway, which may encourage you to visit the area and spend a week or two in this fabulous corner of New Zealand. We leave Invercargill in Southland, New Zealand, that most interesting southern city that is full of things to see and do. Viewing the world's fastest Indian at Hayes Hammer Hardware, visiting museums for motorbike, truck, art and history buffs. If that's not your cup of tea, then a visit to what is probably New Zealand's largest public garden, Queen's Park. And if that suits you, note, this is not far from Maple Glen Gardens, arguably New Zealand's largest private garden. Southland has long been an area full of just get on and get it done people. Made famous by Burt Munro taking a 50-year-old Indian motorbike and setting a world speed record on the Bonneville Salt Flats. Another example is the development of a hydrogen-based dual-fuel infrastructure for our heavy truck transport industry by HWR Hydrogen. This is a really exciting development, an example of New Zealand industry identifying what needs to be done and doing it much quicker without government input. Enjoying delicious bluff oysters straight from the boat or factory. Riverton Beach out past the golf club is at the western end of Arete Beach. This was made famous by Burt Munro, as it was here that he did a lot of his high-speed testing on his motorbikes. And today we see a few young fellas practicing their embryonic talent far from the eyes of parental restrictions. Burt would be proud. There is a movie about his life, The World's Fastest Indian, starring Anthony Hopkins, which is quite an interesting watch. Riverton, located on the northern side of Fovo Strait, is full of history. It is one of New Zealand's earliest permanent European settlements. The local school is older than our nation's Treaty of Waitangi document. The sheltered Riverton estuary also made it popular with the local Maori, who had a long established pa here. Out on Howells Point, on a good day you can easily see Bluff Hill and Stewart Island across the bay. Stunning Colic Bay is a popular place for surfers who travel here to hunt out the big southern ocean waves that come in along our southern coastline. Further along the coast, 9k off Highway 99 is one of my favourite spots, Cozy Nook. It used to be a fishing village, and you can see why with its sheltered cove, ideal for sheltering fishing boats on this storm-swept coast. The last permanent resident died in 2018, so now it is just a recreational fishing spot with a few holiday batches scattered about. But it has an incredibly picturesque rocky coastal views. And here the locals report frequent dolphin sightings from shore. Monkey Island Beach is named after the small island the Maori have used for whale spotting in the past. Here was situated a monkey winch, which was used to move supplies to the mainland. Climbing to the top of it, I have an alternative view as to how it was named. As clambering over the rocks to get to it at low tide, you need to be a bit of a monkey to gain access. Perhaps it's my old age showing. But the effort is worth it, as from the top you get an entirely different vista of Tiwaiwai Bay. We stayed the night and enjoyed the changing views. 1 minute raining and only the ever-rolling waves in sight. The next, the sun was out and we had a clear view of snow-covered Fiordland mountains across the bay. At night, the moon highlighted the clouds, creating yet another incredible scene. You can't but be moved as you stop and enjoy this wonderful creation we live in. Gemstone Beach is close by and will either be sandy or stone covered, depending on the rim of the waves. Semi-precious gems such as garnet, jasper, quartz and nephrite often are found on this beach. Not being a rock hound, I'm not sure what I'm showing you here. Whatever, it is still a beautiful spot to visit. We turn from the coast and start heading north, encountering Tapiri. First developed in the 1880s as a sawmilling and farm supply town area. It was really cosmopolitan as many cultures arrived. Scots, Irish, Welsh, Hungarian, Dutch, Polish, German and Australian. At its peak, there are 120 small sawmills operating in the area. Today, only one remains operational, out on the edge of town. It is the southern gateway to Fiordland National Park, with Hump Track and lakes Hiroko and Monowai nearby. We stop at the Clifton Suspension Bridge, built in 1899 in just 10 months, to replace a punt used for crossing the Waiara River. This is New Zealand's longest wooden road bridge. Originally designed for horse-drawn traffic, it soon was being used by traction engines, then cars and trucks right up to 1987, when it was replaced by the modern concrete bridge you see nearby. A 14-kilometre detour brings you to Lake Monowai, which really needs a boat to facilitate access to the awesome landscapes in here. On the way in, you pass Boland Road, New Zealand's most western road. Originally punched through when the Manapori Power Project needed access to the southern arm of the lake. We meander along the edge of the Fiordland Park. Mountains on your left, giving you a variety of views depending on the caprice of the weather. Clear mountain vista, cloud hidden and peeping mountains, all in the space of a few kilometres. The farming landscape here has changed from a sheep-dairy mix back in Southland to one of sheep, beef and deer, reflecting the increase in altitude and steeper contour of the land. Very soon the town of Manapori appears. Then the lake of the same name pops into view. This beautiful lake has had a very controversial past in New Zealand's environmental history. To facilitate the operation of our largest hydroelectric power station, the lake was raised back in 1971.
You've had a cup of tea,
Are you wanting to go somewhere?
no, I'll just drive through the boat home.
The plan was to lift it 30 metres, but national opposition reduced that to current practices. It is often described as New Zealand's most beautiful lake, which if you do the tour across it and on to the Doubtful Sound cruise, you are likely to agree with. There just don't seem to be enough descriptive words to describe the variety and splendour of the views here. So on to Te Anau we travel, the destination of this detour. In some ways, Te Anau is treated as Queenstown's poor cousin, but it is much more enjoyable if you want to avoid the crowds and enjoy more space. It is the entrance to the Milford Sound Road and 3 great walking tracks, Kepler, Milford and Hollyford, so is a great place to base yourself if exploring Fiordland. We trust you enjoyed viewing this Remote Places New Zealand video, one of our Detour series. Getting out of our cars as we travel around slows us down and we'll see, experience and enjoy the area we travel through much more. We would love it if you subscribed and ring the bell. This means you will be notified of future videos and it really encourages us. Thank you, Dudley Moore at Remote Places New Zealand.